The galaxy had heard of the Zerathians long before they appeared. A species built for war, their record gleamed with conquest. 164 victories in as many campaigns. Entire star systems fell under their control, planets stripped bare, populations enslaved or erased. No one dared to challenge them but Earth. Earth had remained quiet. Primitive, some said. Weak, others whispered. The Zerathian High Command saw it as nothing more than a curiosity, a pale blue planet in a distant, unremarkable system. "We will show them how small they are," General Vorak had declared to his fleet, his eyes shining with arrogance. 164. Victories will not be 165 if they resist us. The Earth Space Defense Council had seen the warning signs. Communication satellites flickered with strange signals. Ships in the outer system reported alien scanners probing Earth. Humanity, though, not ready for full-scale interstellar war, was not unprepared. The Council mobilized. Secret programs that had spent decades hidden now came alive, revealing weapons, fleets, and strategies that humanity had kept close to the chest. But even with their plans, few dared to believe that Earth could withstand the might of the Zerathians. The first Zerathian ships arrived in orbit above Mars. Enormous, black, like shadows across the planet, their hulls bristling with weapons capable of reducing continents to glass. Humanity watched, tense but unafraid. Earth's fleets, smaller in size and numbers, assembled in formation. Ships built from decades of research and ingenuity gleamed in the sun's reflection, their engines humming with a controlled fury. Humans had spent generations perfecting tactics, learning from the failures of others. They were ready. When the Zerathians demanded surrender, the Earth Council responded not with words but with preparation. The message was clear. Earth would not bow. The Zerathians, confident in their supremacy, launched the first strike. Beams of pure energy tore through Earth's orbit, melting satellites and scattering debris. Cities on the surface trembled under the anticipation of doom. For a moment it seemed as though the galaxy's most fearsome warriors might finally meet a challenge they could not overcome. But the humans waited. As the Zerathian fleet focused on their destruction, Earth's hidden weapons activated. Swarms of drones, smaller than anything the Zerathians had seen, moved faster than their sensors could track. Magnetic pulse cannons disabled the energy shields of the largest warships. And then came the most terrifying of all, the gravity projectors pulling massive portions of the Zerathian ships into deadly collisions with each other. The first wave of the invaders did not retreat. They were destroyed before they could even react. Not a single human ship had been lost. Earth's fleet launched a counterattack that the Zerathians could not have anticipated. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. They had studied every battle in the galaxy, every tactic, every weakness. While the Zerathians fought with overwhelming power, the humans fought with precision, strategy, and unyielding will. The battles raged across the solar system. The moons of Jupiter became graveyards for alien warships. Asteroid belts were transformed into traps, detonating on command, crushing entire squadrons in seconds. Every move of the Zerathians was anticipated and countered. For the first time, the galaxy witnessed a species that refused to be dominated. Humans did not merely defend, they struck back. Ships appeared where none should have been, weapons activated with terrifying efficiency, and the Zerathian pride began to crack. General Vorak had underestimated humans. He had believed their victories, their technology, their centuries of conquest made them unstoppable. But humanity was different. Humans fought not just for survival, but for their home, for their families, for every life they had ever loved. On the final day of the battle, the Zerathian flagship, Oblivion's Hand, commanded by Vorak himself, attempted to annihilate Earth in one final strike. It moved with deadly grace, destroying satellites and warships with ease. Humanity's fleets seemed doomed. Then, from the shadow of the sun, came the Artemis, the human command vessel, guided by Admiral Lena Arik. With a fleet smaller but faster, smarter and more determined, They struck at the heart of the Zerathian flagship. Using a combination of gravitational manipulation and kinetic weapons, the humans shattered the Oblivion's hand's engines, and it drifted helplessly into a collision with its own fleet. The Zerathian fleet erupted into chaos. Ships collided, weapons backfired, and the arrogance that had driven them so far became their undoing. In hours, the once mighty fleet was reduced to nothing. Not wreckage, not survivors, not even a whisper of its former glory. Though the battle was over, Earth's skies were not entirely peaceful. Human ships had taken damage, satellites were destroyed, and debris floated through orbit. Yet, there was no despair, only resolve. Humanity had proven that no matter the power arrayed against them, they would endure. Across the galaxy, news of the defeat spread like wildfire. The mighty Zerathians, who had never lost, had been annihilated. Other species watched with a mixture of awe and fear. Earth had risen, not as a pawn or a vassal, but as a force to be reckoned with. Admiral Lena Eric stood before the remnants of Earth's fleet. "We have won today," she said, her voice steady. "Not because we are stronger, but because we are human. We fight for more than victory. We fight for hope, for home, for each other. Let no one ever forget this." The galaxy would remember the Battle of Earth for centuries. It was a story told across star systems, a legend of courage, strategy, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. Ships were built not for war, but to ensure that no threat could ever again reach Earth unchallenged. Alliances formed with other species who had witnessed the humans' valor, trusting them as protectors rather than conquerors. On the surface, humans rebuilt. Cities rose, and families reunited. The scars of battle faded, but the lessons endured. Children grew up hearing the story of the fleet that came to Earth, confident and arrogant, and of the humans who shattered it without leaving a trace behind. And somewhere among the stars, the few Zerathians who survived would whisper in disbelief, "Not even wreckage remained. They were gone before we could understand what happened." Humanity. They are not to be underestimated. Earth had sent a message across the galaxy. Never underestimate the heart of a species that fights for its home. And from that day on, humanity was no longer the galaxy's unknown. It was its reckoning. The end.